Welcome to Virtual Events Demystified. Advanced Events is here to help lead the charge as the masses adopt virtual engagements. So many clients have questions, so we thought, why not do a show and tell? Just quick installments as the best explanation for all these questions. In this installment, we're going to simplify and demystify, because going virtual is no longer a choice. What used to be a nice add-on component to live events is now mandatory for any interaction. So we'd like to help address the wild west of virtual meetings to make the process of incorporating streamed content into your strategy just a little less intimidating. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, and there are many solutions that can fit any situation. There are simple solutions that have some pretty robust features, and there are sophisticated platforms that can be implemented simply. So while we want to make the process less intimidating, we also want to expand thinking for the dreamers out there who are looking to do big things in tiny windows. So it's going to be a quick hit, fast moving, content and Q&A. We're going to demonstrate how a panel can be presented and even moderated live right here by us. We're going to bring in Tyler Evancic, Director of Operations at Advanced Events. He's going to simplify the nuts and bolts and introduce some cool, robust features out there. And we're also going to cover a few tech troubleshooting tips from AJ Menconi, founder of 25/8 Production, a longtime trusted partner of ours. Overall, we're going to show that multiple location feeds does not need to break the budget or be overly produced. You can be very impactful. And because we all like gifts, we're going to send out a downloadable resource of a checklist that we've prepared. So when the conversation comes up with your leadership team of how to generate your results that matter with virtual events, you're prepared. So let's get to it. Now for advanced events, if anybody knows me and knows advanced events, absolutely everything we do starts with the end result in mind. And for businesses, let's not lose sight that the real objective for virtual engagements is still the same, generating business results. And for a lot of organizations, generating ancillary non-dues revenue. So real quick, if we think about bringing people together physically, virtually, or both, it's important to remember that events of any kind are tools. Selecting that right tool for the specific job makes that task much easier. Would you use a hammer to saw, or would you use a saw to hammer? They're both tools, and they both work well when they're used for their intended purpose. So we want to help navigate how tools are selected based on the outcome you're looking to achieve. For businesses, we further define the outcome based on the message and the behavior. It's a very specific message an organization wants to deliver and the behavior that they're looking to evoke from the audience. So really getting clear on what you want to convey, that message, and what you want people to do or believe or say or buy, the behavior, that's what drives which tool or which virtual platform would be selected to deliver your virtual event. And it's clear, for as many reasons as there are to have meetings, there are that many platforms for virtual engagements. So let's bring in Tyler Evancic to simplify the various platform options based on the specific message delivery and the audience behavior criteria. Welcome, Tyler. Can you give a few of the various types of components to be considered based on what type of message and audience interaction is desired?
Absolutely. When completing our virtual event analysis, we identified 10 key components to consider. Things like attendee interaction levels, branding expectations, and having live or pre-recorded content will influence the look and feel of your virtual event. Speaking to levels, we recognize 5: information distribution, gathering community, multiple presenters, full conference experience, and hybrid.
Tyler, do you mind quickly covering the highlights of those 5 levels?
Sure. Starting with level 1, which we consider to be the most basic model, and working our way up to 5. Level 1, we've got information distribution. This is a predictable environment with fundamental delivery. Usually has prepared slide content. Think a single presenter broadcasting a product training to employees. Gathering community offers a slightly more complex delivery and begins to work in branding elements as well as audience interaction. With the multiple presenter level, a virtual producer is paramount, which lends to a higher price point. The right technical team can take any number of presenters and put them into their virtual studio to be mixed with other elements. So with this, you'll see advanced visual features, advanced branding, and content that's associated with this level. Next, we have the full conference experience, which includes all the elements we just discussed and more. These are virtual environments that are created, and they'll include things like exhibit halls, networking spaces, and a general session theater. These require the highest level of project management and event configuration, thus having the highest price point. And last is hybrid or glocal, as it's been coined. This includes any combination of live and virtual. Certain platforms span multiple levels, but not all levels fit into each platform. The appropriate platform and production choices will supplement your content, helping achieve virtual event success.
Thanks, Tyler. That's really helpful information. And sneak peek, that is what the downloadable checklist is afterwards, to help you organize your information to talk to your leadership. So now that we've painted a picture of what's possible, let's talk about the pitfalls of what can go wrong. So again, at Advanced Events, we're not focused on the platform. We're obsessed with the finished product. And we certainly know it's not just a platform that does all the work. Somewhere back there is that virtual studio of hardware, software, and mixing and video traffic controlling. So for insights into that aspect, we brought in AJ Menconi, technical producer, to talk with us. Welcome, AJ. Tell us a little bit about your experience and how much you love virtual events.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. Yeah, so I'm a technical producer. I've been producing shows live and virtual professionally for over 15 years. And a lot of the show's success is truly determined in the pre-planning stages. For me, there's a clear determination if the client is committed to having a video meeting or a virtual event. Virtual events need that human component of a decision maker, controlling all the content output variables. You have to ask yourself, who is making those corrections along the way? Mixing the sound, controlling feeds. You need a human technical producer because virtual platforms don't make output corrections.
Wow. Wait, video meeting versus virtual event. That's really saying something. Maybe we should even change the name of this webinar. Do you think the producer or attendee can tell the difference between platforms really? Like there's WebEx, Zoom, Facebook, RingCentral. If you're just looking to push content out, does that choice really matter?
Well, I think a platform to an attendee is different than it is to a technical director or a virtual producer like myself. By now, the attendees are usually familiar with certain platforms, how they look, how to log in, and how they function. So in their world, they might claim a lot of differences, but in our world, not really.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
In our world, we're what we call platform agnostic. To me, the platform is really a webcam of sorts. It's just a camera feed into our virtual studio. Once we're able to lock in a nice clean camera and audio feed from a presenter to our virtual studio, we are able to add graphics, lower third, seamless picture-in-picture with a split screen shot, and also mix the audio so the attendees can actually hear one presenter at a time. We are literally mixing everything live, and then we send that mix down to the CDN, which, by the way, it stands for Content Delivery Network. The final live mix is literally what the attendees see, hear, and possibly interact with.
So one of my favorite things that you guys do is that any project you check, it must require a technical check to identify those presenter equipment and signal strength issues. One of my favorites is when the Bluetooth headset on the day of the event was interfering with signal, and you guys caught it. It was amazing. It was a fantastic save on that program. So AJ, if you had one way of instilling confidence, what's your best tip or trick?
Honestly, for us, the confidence comes with the team. We have an experienced team of professionals that have been doing this for 15 years. I really rely on our team to, record, make sure the audio sounds good. We always have a tech check before we even do the project to make sure that the presenter's audio looks and sounds good. So I really rely on the technical team. And then honestly, in our tech world, we are a little bit nerdy. So we want to make sure we have a good gaming computer, and it's a mix of hardware and software. And, I really kind of dial into bandwidth and CPU processing speed and GPU power. And I know that's probably not that fun for you all, but those are some really important things that we have to do.
AJ, I may not share your passion about CPU, and I think you put a GPU processing in there, but I rely on your passion for that. So I love it. Thank you for that. We're going to go on to some question and answer. Questions that came in during the presentation, or I'm going to pick one also from my email that's I keep getting all the time. This one's for Tyler. How can you tell if you selected the right or wrong platform?
Sure. A quick example of a wrong selection or wrong platform is when it dilutes or distracts from your message. As you said earlier in the opening, there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, but the right solution does exist to achieve your business objectives. If you're delivering a PSA, for example, you don't need a platform that offers chat, Q&A, and gamification features. The platform features really need to complement your objectives.
Okay, for AJ, the day of the broadcast, what are some of the simple things people tend to overlook that may be obvious once you're on the screen, but it's easy to forget while you're planning?
Yeah, well, in a lot of cases, everyone's so excited about the big event and the big webinar or about to go live. The day of the actual show, they might forget to check and test their bandwidth speeds. And we have a rule that we want a 16 upload speed and 6 download speed. Download if you're watching, 16 if you're presenting. And then you have to also remember that if you got kids or someone in the other room gaming, they're going to drop that bandwidth speed. So you got to really make sure you close your apps and just, make sure if you kind of have lower bandwidth to make sure not everyone else is on the same network at the same time, or you might honestly drop your feed during the event.
Well, and I have one that it wasn't exactly dropping the feed, but we had a presenter who was relying on battery power and didn't plug their computer in. So,
they just drop out in the middle of the show. That's that's really hard to recover from.
So here's a question that we've all been anticipating, and I don't care who takes this one, but what is the price to implement?
I'll go ahead and take that, Rachel. So the price is really determined on the platform that you actually choose, and then the features within that platform. Also, number of presenters, number of attendees can really affect the price. But if you have a laptop that can capture audio and video, theoretically, you can push out content on a social sharing site for free. But as you begin to license platforms and curate content with a professional look and feel, pricing can range anywhere from $5,000 on the low end up to $50,000+.
I also want to add in there, one way to keep the budget very reasonable is just to think of a half-day production versus a full day.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Which is a big difference between live events and virtual events too, that it's a whole different atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So final question, what are some of the trends that are up and coming with the technologies? Because we've had some technologies that have been around for quite a while, and we've got a lot of newcomers. It's so rapidly evolving. What's cool out there?
So one of the biggest fears with going virtual is keeping the attendee engaged. Most of us are multitaskers by nature, so staying engaged throughout a half-day virtual event is a concern for the organizer. It sounds simple, but promoting audience interaction with Q&A, polling, gamification features can really leave an attendee with a positive outlook on any virtual event. And some of these softwares within the various platforms have really come a long way and added fantastic reporting features that track an attendee's every move within the virtual event. This data makes for very pointed follow-ups for the organizer and the sponsor, which can lead to greater ROI.
Absolutely. Well, we set the expectation for a quick hit of content and Q&A, so I want to be respectful of time. As promised, we will be sending out that analytical checklist to help guide conversations with your leadership team. And if anyone would like to schedule a 40-minute complimentary one-on-one video chat with any one of us on the call today, please don't hesitate to contact us at request@advancedevents.net. And we thank you for your time and know that we are here to help produce your virtual results that matter.